What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo.
What's up, you guys? Come on in the room. Welcome or welcome back to REI Decoded Facebook group. We are super excited to have you today. This group is for active and aspiring real estate investors who are struggling when it comes to finding funding, finishing their first few deals. That's why this group exists. Trying to find consistency when it comes to getting that cash flow, getting out the rat race, and moving to the next level. We are your hosts. My name is Ashley Denmark.
I'm Antonio Denmark.
We are the Denmarks. We know exactly where you are. We have been where you are, and we have made it our mission to help people, pull people up from that beginner phase where they're spinning their wheel, trying to figure out exactly where to go, how to go, what to do, where to get the right funding. We have made it our
where
mission.
to start.
Where to start. We've made it our mission to help more people that are just like you. All right. So today, as you guys are coming on in the room, today we are going to be talking about how you can get business funding literally without having a business. All right. So make sure you ask questions. If you're watching this as a replay, put hashtag replay in the chat so we know you're watching it as a replay. If you're watching it live, put live in the chat. Let me know you're watching it live. Because whether you're watching it live or you're watching it as a replay, we want to be able to interact with you. We want to be able to help you get over those hurdles so that you can get into the game and get off the sidelines. All right.
For those who stay during the event, we're going to give you our secret lenders list for business funding.
Yes.
On this list, it has the banks that we like. It has what bureaus they pull from.
Absolutely.
It is a gold mine if you are trying to do business funding.
Absolutely. So go ahead.
You got it.
No, I was just going to say, so come on in the room. If you feel like this can help someone.
You got to tell them what to put. They're going to get it.
If you feel like this could help someone, this training today, I want you to tag them below, invite them into the group so that they can watch this training as well. I want you to share it with as many people as you feel like will benefit from it. They're looking to get started into investing in real estate. They don't have the funding that they need to get started. They don't have a large savings, but they have a passion, a dream, and a goal to get started investing in real estate. Make sure you tag them below so that they can join in on this training as well. All right.
To get the list, just type the word list in the comments and we'll send it over to you.
Okay. All right.
Well, let's go. We believe in partnership. There's time, there's talent, and there's treasure. First thing you need to do is identify what you have. And once you identify what you have, start looking for other people that don't have what you have. A lot of the things you hear us do, a lot of the things that we talk about, they're from experiences.
We want you to get creative. We want you to think outside the box because that's really where it lies. Let's go. All right, let's get into it. If you guys haven't got your tickets to the Dynamic Funding Tour, make sure you grab your tickets. Make sure you secure your spot. I'm excited about it, so I want to make sure you guys go. Before we go on, I want to tell them real quick about our Wealth Without Limits workshop. All right, our Wealth Without Limits workshop. This is an absolutely free virtual event. It's going to be held on May 21st at 8 p.m. Central, and you can register now. We are about halfway full for this workshop. It won't be live on Facebook, so it won't be live streamed, but it is on Zoom. So you got to register to get your link to join. It's at 8 p.m. Central on May 21st. You can register by, I'm going to add a link below, but if you go to www.thedenmarks.us and click on Wealth Without Limits Workshop, it will let you sign up. All right. Without further ado, Tonio, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to getting business funding, it is so important to make sure that you are doing it the right way. All right. There are many ways to do it. We believe that time is important. All right. So we don't like spending a lot of time on things, because in that time frame of spending a lot of time, we could have done more deals. So doing it the way that we're going to show you today is near and dear to our heart, because there's a speed that goes with it. It's not the business funding way where it takes 6 months to a year to start building up just to get some type of credit. No, we want to get the good credit right out the door in 30 days. All right. If that's something you guys want to talk about, you want to hear how we get business funding in 30 days without a business, I need you to type in chat, I'm ready.
One thing I like about business funding is business funding the right business funding do not report to your personal credit. So compared to if you're using a personal credit and you max it out, there's a 100% chance that your personal credit score is going to drop.
Right.
Compared to business funding, if you get a business funding line of credit or a credit card or something of that nature, and you max those things out, it does not report to your personal credit for 90% of business funding. Now, there are some that do report to your personal. You just got to know which ones to get and which ones not to get.
Absolutely. And you just want to make sure that you're doing it that way. Because like I said, you don't want to do it the other way where it takes forever. You want to be about speed, because the quicker you get it, the quicker you can get into that first deal. Or if you're in the middle of a flip and you run out of cash or you run out of funds, that business funding can help you finish through that project so that it's not sitting there, because every day counts. All right.
Business funding, we also like it because most business cards come with a 0% interest period, whether that's 6 months, 9 months, a year, 18 months. And if you really get that card and use it the right way, that's a great way to make money off of other people's money.
Yeah. So when you hear us say OPM, that's other people's money. And who better than to partner with the bank if they are giving you something at 0% interest, where you can potentially make 20, 30, 50% interest just off of partnering with the bank. All right.
We also like to work with business funding because certain banks, they do stated income.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily a thing where they're asking for tax returns. They're not asking for proof of income, like P&L statements. So like if you've not got business funding because of those things, then this could be an avenue for you if your credit profile looks the way it needs to look.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump into credit profile. Let's jump into credit profile. So when banks are looking at your credit profile, they want to make sure that you don't need money, okay? They want it to not make it look like I'm in dire need of this funding or I'm not going to be able to live. They want it to look like this is bonus, this is extra, this is something that's helping me in my business, not something I absolutely need. And I get it, y'all. Most of us are like, for real though, if I'm asking for it, I probably need it. And that's fine, but you want to make sure your credit profile looks as if you don't need it. All right. So jumping into the credit profile, when you are going for personal funding, and let me tell you the difference between business and personal funding. Personal funding is not in your business name, but it is when you are getting maybe a loan, a line of credit, an installment loan, personal credit cards. Those are on your personal side where it reports to your personal. They don't always, depending on what your profile looks like, determines for personal funding if you'll be eligible. So if you were going personal funding, not reporting to your business, reporting straight to your personal, then you need a 680 or more credit score. They want to make sure you don't have any collections or derogatories. They want to make sure if you have a late payment, you only have one, and that you have 4 to 5 accounts that are primarily yours, not where you are an authorized user or some. They want to make sure that you know how to manage money and they can trust you. And the way that they can trust you is knowing that you have 4 to 5 primary accounts under your profile. They also want to make sure you've had credit for just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but just a little bit. So your credit age should be 1 to 2 years. All right. And that's an average of all the accounts that are open.
You want to have less than 7 inquiries per bureau. Okay. That is so key because you have your 3 main bureaus, which are Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. All right. So when we look at it, we're looking at each bureau in its own category. All right. Mm-hmm. So if you got 7 on Experian, 7 on TransUnion, 7 on Equifax, you're good for personal funding. Okay. Yes. You want to be under 30% utilization. And for people who haven't watched the training, when we talk about credit, utilization is things like your credit cards, things like lines of credit, anything that you can pay and get access to those funds again falls under that revolving utilization. Yeah. All right. If you got a card, that's really not under your revolving utilization.
That's your installment. All right.
So don't get caught up trying to pay your car down to get your utilization down. That 30% of your credit profile is made up of your revolving utilization. Only 10% of your installments. So under 30% is important.
Absolutely.
Ideally, you want to have at least 1 personal credit card with a minimum $5,000 balance. Mm-hmm. And the reason that's important is because nobody wants to be the first person to give you big credit limits. All right. It's kind of like a stepping ladder. So if you have 5, the next lender say, okay, I either match that 5 or I'll do 10.
Yeah.
All right. You got 10 already. That next lender say, hey, I'll match that 10 or give you 15 to 20. Mm-hmm. So nobody wanted you to go from a $5,000 credit card to a $50,000 to a $75,000 credit card. All right. So like you gotta have those foundational steps when it comes to building your personal credit. Mm-hmm. All right. So if you don't, people that we recommend for personal funding are people who don't have what they need for business funding.
Yeah. And let me say this. Is business funding absolutely the best? Absolutely. But if you have to get started and go personal funding first before you go business funding, then go personal funding. Do whatever you have to do to get off the sideline and get into the game. All right.
And we'll just a quick recap. So we had one lady, she was in Florida. And she didn't necessarily have all of, we call these data points that she needed. She needed a few more credit cards, but everything else was pretty much good. Mm-hmm. So what we did was we did personal funding with her. And what we did, which is follow me, we got her 3 credit cards. All of them was $10,000 or more, but we also went and got her 2 personal loans of $20,000 a piece. All right. So while her credit profile was building up, she used that $40,000 to get started in real estate. Mm-hmm. All right. So understand, she didn't go business funding. She went personal funding, but she had enough money to do the deals that she wanted to do. And she just recycled that money until it was time to go for business funding.
Mm-hmm. So whatever you have to do to get in the game, do it. Don't let it stop you. But also, don't be so naive and saying, I only want to get business funding and you're not ready, and then delay it for 6 months to a year to 2 years, 3 years. I've talked to some people, they've been waiting for 5 years to literally get started. All right.
And the reason we did the personal loan was because the personal loan didn't affect her credit as much. It was only a small hit because she got a new account. We didn't use those credit cards for real estate. She just kept them to the side, used them for gas and personal things. We only used the personal loans to get started for her in real estate.
Yeah. All right. So that's if you don't have all the data points for business. Let's talk about the data points you need for business because we talked about personal, but let's talk about business. So with business data points, the lenders want to make sure you have at minimum a 680 credit score.
Let me say this real quick. Keep in mind that this is an ideal profile.
Yes.
This is
somebody that's about to max it out.
This person gonna get $200,000 in funding.
Yes.
All right. So understand if you are
yes and no. They're gonna have all of these data points, but their credit score may be a little higher to max out and get $200,000 in funding. Okay, go.
I thought you just said the same thing.
Well, no, because it says a 680 or plus or more, but I'm saying a 680 with all these data points, you got more than a 680 credit
Yes.
score. Okay.
So understand what we're saying. If you don't have 10 accounts, that don't mean you can't get business funding.
Right.
If you have more than 4 inquiries, that don't mean you can't get business funding. If you don't have the 2 $5,000 cards, that doesn't mean you can't get business funding.
Yeah.
But what we're showing you on this business side is what we are trying to achieve. This is the Mount Rushmore of what a credit profile looks like when we're going for funding.
Absolutely. So let me say this. If you are watching it live, make sure you comment live in the chat so we know that you're watching it live. If you are watching this on replay, just make sure you comment replay on the chat so that way we can measure and know exactly who you are and help you during your journey. Also, we're going to give away our free lenders list for who we use and what we use when it comes to business funding. So make sure you drop list in the chat if you want our free lenders list. All right. So going into business funding, data point.
Question, comment a little bit.
Okay.
If you got a 700 credit score, put 700 in the chat. Let's see who got them credit scores around here. You can go back.
All right. So you want to make sure you have a 680 or higher, 0 collections or derogatories.
You ain't tell me the kid was on here. What about the kid?
0 late payment.
Coleman. Okay, I'm sorry, I got excited. You didn't tell me those people was on here.
I got it so you can see it.
All right, go.
All right. 0 late payments, 10 or more primary accounts. And remember, primary accounts are accounts where you are the main owner and you are not an authorized user. All right. They are fine with authorized users, but they don't want your credit profile to be only authorized users and you don't have any primary accounts. Because again, that shows that I really can't handle money. I am piggybacking off of other people's credit instead of building up my own. So I don't know if I'm a lender, if I can really trust you because you haven't proven yourself trustworthy from a personal account standpoint. All right. You want to make sure you have 4.5 years when it comes to credit age. So that's the average of all your accounts. If you just got a new account, understand that average history is going to go down.
If you got an account from 10 years ago, that doesn't mean your age is 10 years. All right. It's going to take the average of all your accounts. So that's why when you get a new car, or if you get a new credit card, or you get a new loan, if you see your score take a dip, it's because your credit age just changed.
Yes.
All right. A lot of people like, I just got increase and the increase killed my credit profile, but that's not true.
That's not true. It's that new account.
It's that new account that really hurts your score because your age changes. And if you don't got a lot of age and you get a new account, it's going to really drop.
It's going to plummet immediately. Absolutely. And then you want to make sure you are under 20% utilization. All right. Can you be 21%? Yes. But understand that the more utilization you have, the less they are willing to give you. So you want to make sure you keep that utilization as low as possible because that's going to help you get over your hurdles and get as much business funding as you can get.
A minimum of 2 personal credit cards with 5K limits. If you got 2 cards with 10K limits, that's like gold, all right? Because remember, it's a stepping ladder. If you got 10, they're going to give you 10 or 20, all right? So just keep that in mind when you are doing these type of things.
So if someone asks, does medical bills count? Do they count as primary accounts or medical bills? So if they are in good standing,
Yes.
then they count. Now you don't want them to be in collections because that count as your collections. And remember, they don't want zero collections or derogatories. But if those medical bills are in good standings, then yes, they count as an account.
Yeah.
All right. If a new account closes, will that bring the age up? If that's the newest account, it probably wouldn't do much because it's already taking the hit from it. But it's gonna take you about a month or two for it to average back out, so that it doesn't affect it. So yes, just give it time to reflect it at the end.
Now the other thing I tell you is, and we're not going too far into credit on this one, but if you lose an account, that can also affect your utilization. That can affect your mix of accounts. So because you lose an account, it can affect multiple things in your profile.
And not just
Your
that
age.
one area with the age.
Yes. Great question though. Okay, Ms. Parker say 700 on TransUnion and Equifax.
Are close.
And, okay, and Experian close. You gonna get them.
All right, so let's talk about some ways that we can boost up our credit score. Some of these are free, some of them don't cost much, but most importantly, if this is what you're trying to do, by all means, do it so that your credit score jumps up. You have a mixture of accounts. With some, you can get age and history from it so that you can fill in the areas that you are missing so that you have an ideal profile. So first up is self-lenders, Tanya.
All right. So what Self-Lender is a company that will allow you to make small payments on a personal loan. But the thing about it is the loan will show on your credit instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll give you a loan for $600 per se. They'll put it on your credit report. Hey, like you got $600. Now they're not giving you $600. But make sure that's clear. They're not giving you the $600. They're putting it on your report as if you got $600 and you have an installment loan. And what's going to happen is they're going to report your monthly payments on time every month to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, and that's going to start building your account. At the end, once you've made enough payments and you've paid the $600, they'll give you the $600 minus any fees. All right. So the reason that you want to do that is because if you don't have enough accounts, this is a way to get a primary account. So when we say primary, this is key.
Mm-hmm.
That shows up as your personal loan. It does not matter, but with the loans, if it's a $600 loan
or a $30,000 loan.
A loan is a loan, a payment is a payment.
Yes, it's
all right.
an installment. It's gonna count the same. Whether you make that payment or miss that payment, it's gonna count positive and negative the same. No matter if it's 600 or 30,000, because it's just reflecting as an installment loan. All right. Another way is Kickstart. Kickstart allows you to have several different accounts that you can do to give you a boost. That's what it's like. Kickstart is giving you a boost, and it's reporting on your credit report. Does Kickstart report to all of them?
Yes.
Kickstart reports to your Experian, your TransUnion, and your Equifax. And you can determine what type of loans that you want when it comes to Kickstart.
So the thing about Kickstart, which is a really good one, is you can do the personal loan, like I just talked about with Self-Lender. You can also do a secure credit card with Kickstart, and you can also report your rent. So like Kickstart kind of
it's like a 3-in-1.
3-in-1. That's kind of where if you want a biggest bang for your buck. Now each service is a different price, but you can use those and get great results from your credit profile.
Absolutely. Experian Boost only reports to Experian, but it'll take everything that you automatically paid on your. They'll look at your credit. They'll say,
They'll look at your bank account.
They'll look at your bank account, sorry. And then they'll say, okay, well, you got Netflix that come out. You have Hulu that come out, you have a phone bill that come out. It's the same amount every month. And you know what? We're going to report that as if they are loans, but
Account.
as if they're accounts, but it's only going to report to Experian. So it's not going to report to TransUnion. It's not going to report to Equifax. But if Experian is where you are low, Experian Boost would be a good option for boosting up that score.
Yeah. Rent reporters, we touched on this earlier. If I had to report my rent, I would go rent reporters first. Even though Kickstart does it, I like rent reporters the most because rent reporters will allow you to report up to 5 years of back rent on your credit profile.
Yeah. So the good thing about that is if age is where your problem is and you can get 5 years of it, now you are solving that age problem more than likely, depending on how many new accounts you have. But you are helping so that you get history and age using rent reporters.
Yeah, so that's a big one. Like the basic is 2 years, but you can pay a little bit more. Get 5 years, that can totally change your credit profile. Other people's credit card.
Authorized user, baby. It's simple, it's easy. However, make sure you are getting the right authorized user for your account. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is you don't need to be on everyone's authorized. You don't need to be on everyone's card as an authorized user. Sometimes being an authorized user on a card can literally hurt you. I had a client, he was on his mother's card and he was trying to buy a house. We were helping him buy a house and we were telling him, like, you got to tell mom to take you off as an authorized user. And he's like, I don't know how to tell my mama this. Well, it was hurting him and it was dropping his credit score because she had missed the payment. At one point, it was great being on it, but when she missed the payment and she started getting closer to the balance, well, it was reflecting on his credit report and it was causing his score to go down and not be able to buy a house. So the moment he got her off is the moment he went from a 580 to a 670 and he was able to buy a house. But holding mama on was causing him not to be able to qualify for his home. So make sure you understand what is it that I need. And the things that you need when it comes to an authorized user is maybe you need history. So if you need history, maybe they've had that account for 10, 20 years, and you need to build up your age.
All right, go back one.
Okay.
All right, so we still talking about authorized users. So example, I look at this and I look at your profile and say, hey, you don't have enough age. Maybe you have 3 years of age. I say, hey, let's find a trade line or a credit booster to where you have 10 years of age. The limit really doesn't matter.
You want to make sure it's not maxed out.
As long as the balance doesn't matter. So if the limit is $1,000 and it's zero balance, but it got 10 years,
that's perfect.
That's perfect. That'll help you in that situation because you need age. And if you get 2 or 3 of them, that will quickly boost your age up. So the one thing about the trade lines is your credit report will reflect those trade lines. So sometimes, like we say primary accounts, but sometimes you can also have trade lines that can help you. All right. So if I'm looking at your credit profile and you have a high utilization, I'm going to say, hey, let's go find us a trade line that has a high limit, $20,000, $25,000 and a low balance.
Very low balance.
Once we add that to your report, it's going to add up all of your limits, and then it's going to add up all of your balances and get your utilization. So that's kind of how you can understand where trade lines are important. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you don't have the 2 $5,000 credit cards. I would want to add you on 2 or 3 trade lines to where it's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 cards, to where when they look at your profile, they see $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 cards. So depending on, like, most of the time there is no one size fit all trade line.
Yeah, you may need a combination, or you may need a combination because how much it costs to get a one size fits all may be too much money. All right, so you may need to do a combination for a cheaper price.
And trade lines, they price between $4,000 and $1,000 depending on the age, the limit of those type of things. So like if somebody got a 30-year trade line, they're gonna charge you a lot of money for it. If somebody got a $50,000 limit, they're gonna charge you a lot of money for it because they are rare to come by.
Right.
And you can only use it so many times.
Absolutely. All right. So next is secured credit cards. Secured credit cards are when you go to the bank and you say, "Hey, I'm gonna use $1,000 as an example. Hey, maybe my credit isn't where it needs to for me to get a regular credit card, but I am going to secure it by putting $1,000 into a savings account, and that $1,000 is gonna be my limit. All right, and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna pay it. I'm gonna use it as needed. That $5,000. I mean that $1,000. But I want to make sure if funding is what I'm trying to get, I'm gonna make sure I don't use 1,000. That maybe I use 100 or $30 just every so often, so that my credit reflects it. All right.
Yep.
Credit builder cards. What are credit builder cards, Sonia?
It's similar to a secure card, so it ain't much different. But understand that credit is a game, and you just got to understand how to play the game. And one of the things they don't teach us in school is how to play the credit game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can easily manipulate credit if you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you got
Manipulation
collections,
sounds so bad. Not manipulate. You can easily work.
however
it
you
so
want
that
to put
it
it,
works for you.
however you want to put it,
Yeah, I like that. But
and,
what y'all
and
like?
treat and understand you got to treat each bureau different. Just because you have all your data points on one credit profile, which is Experian, doesn't mean you're good for TransUnion and Equifax.
Yeah, you got to build them all up.
Yeah.
All right, you got to make sure you're building them all up because you don't know who the lenders are going to hit. You may be good on Experian, but they may hit TransUnion, and you may be a 500 or a 600 on TransUnion. So you want to make sure that you build them all up so that you have options when you go for funding.
Vice versa. Let's hypothetically say on Equifax and TransUnion, you got a bankruptcy showing on those. But on that third credit bureau, it isn't showing. You can create a funding plan just around that third bureau. Not saying you're going to get a lot of money or you're going to max it out, but you can get some funding to get started.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So don't just look at your credit profile as if it's on one account, it's on all of them. Like look at it individually. That's why we always, when we helping people with credit, we always say send us all 3 reports. Like you just can't send us one report.
Or just the numbers alone, because your numbers, I've had someone that had an 800 credit score and literally only had two or three accounts. So the scores doesn't matter. It's the data behind the scores that really matter.
All right, what you got over there?
I see Chase Inc. for business messed up my personal credit bad because I called when bills were tight and asked if I could pay half then and then the other half in 2 weeks. After that, both of my personal Chase cards cut my credit limits from 20K down to 10K, which maxed both out. Still trying to recover. Any advice? Ooh.
The first thing I'm going to say is understand that when we say that these business funding don't report to your personal, we're telling you if you do everything right, it will not report.
Yeah. And if you're paying half a payment, in their mind, you didn't pay the payment. So that's why it reports. So you want to make sure you do whatever you can to make that payment so that it doesn't report.
Even if I got to get the money from somewhere else, like I'm going to make sure I make these business funding payments just so that I can keep in good standing with them.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice would be simple, all right? My advice would be, depending on how bad it hurts you, my advice to you would be, go get you a personal loan, all right? If you had 2 $10,000 cards and now both of them are maxed out, I would go do a personal loan, quote unquote, like a debt consolidation type thing. And I would pay off those credit cards and I would move all of that credit card debt into my personal side, into my personal loan installment side. When you do that, that's going to shoot up your credit score. And at that point, you can potentially go get more business funding if your credit score is back in line. And then the sauce on top of that, I would be is if I go get some more business funding and it's at 0% interest, I would use that to just pay off the personal loan that I got.
Yeah. So now I'm paying it without interest. I'm paying it off. That's going to look even better. And if I have to go through credit repair just to remove it, but I think if you pay it off with Chase, you can work out with them where they'll go and they'll remove it from your personal side because you paid it off. But I will be in communication with them so that they do it so it doesn't even reflect as a closed account on your personal side.
Yep. Miss Green, how much did y'all get in funding? I see you just peek your head in here. I see Miss Green on here. She got some business funding. D Nation got some business funding. Anybody else on here I seen that got some business funding with us? I know Miss Springer's working on hers.
Miss Jones got some business.
Miss Jones got some business funding.
Type in the chat if you got business funding and how much you receive. Also, if you guys are watching live, make sure you hashtag live in the chat. So she said no one will approve her. I've tried.
So I would try to do some of the other stuff to improve my profile. So maybe you might have to go get some trade lines.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get some trade lines, that'll also make your credit profile look better.
Yeah, maybe you're doing the rent reporters, maybe you're doing Kickstart, but I would use everything on that page. I would do everything that's on that page because that's gonna automatically boost me up. Yes, that's gonna be on there, but it should only be on there as a missed payment or a late payment and not necessarily a charge off if it's still open.
Yeah. And I will also say, yes, a trade line will cost some money, but if you get 2 or 3 trade lines, offset that utilization, your score will go up high enough. Now you can get the personal loan.
Yeah.
It's all strategic.
Yes, someone will. And let me say this: if you only went and did 1 or 2 people, try some more. Like, keep trying it till you get an answer. And most of them they don't hit their soft pulls, so they're not hitting your credit report unless you accept it and say yes to them. Yeah. So don't be afraid to run through.
Lending Tree is a good one that you can get multiple options for them. It's a website called Credible.
Credible is the Credible website, and I've had a lot of success when it comes to Credible and getting our friends' personal loans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she said, then I paid off my business account in full, and they dropped my credit line to 500 from 25. But guess what? You can ask for an increase as long as you get your personal in line. You can ask them for a credit increase or apply for a different product.
And I would have told you, I wouldn't have paid off my business line.
No,
I would have paid off my personal first.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would have focused at on my personal side. I would have paid that personal down so my credit score can go up.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about how to get funding without having a business. All right. Typically, your lenders want you to have a business for a minimum of 2 years. At 2 years, that's when they feel like you've been in business for some time. You've had some hiccups, you've had some bumps, you've had some bruises, and you have recovered. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for how long have you had this business entity? How long has it been in good standings, and how much do you need in funding? All right. So a way that we bypass that is we have our friends get age corporations. They buy age LLCs. They buy age corporations that are seasoned. All right. And when I say they're seasoned, they have 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 years where it's been around. And now when you go apply for business funding, you went from not having a business to having a business that's 3 years old, having a business that's 4 years old, just by incorporating an age corporation or an age LLC into the mix.
Yeah. So when we say you can get business funding without a business, we're not literally saying you don't have to have a business. We're saying you don't have to have a business today. You can buy age corporation and go get business funding in 25, 30 days.
Mhm.
All right. So just understand that it is possible. If you're watching this, you're like, man, I got this credit score thing, but I just ain't got no business. But I want to max out my funding. I'm gonna say buy your age corporation. Yes, it's an investment into an age corporation, but if you can get back $100,000 in business funding, it's a drop in the bucket because it opens up the possibilities to doing two and three deals at a time.
Yeah, or even lending money where you're making in your sleep money just by investing in yourself, getting that age corporation. Now, what? So you can also do it where you create a brand new business and then go for funding. But how Antonio said, if you get that age, you're at a better chance if you have the data points accompanied with the age corporation. You're at a better chance of getting 100,000 or higher. However, if you just use a new LLC or you just did a new business, you're probably going to get anywhere between 25 to maybe 45,000, depending on your data points. So it literally changes the game by getting an age corporation to where you can literally go from sitting on the sideline to maybe doing a deal, lending on 2 other deals, and making money where your credit is actually working for you without you having to physically work for it. Someone put having an LLC for 4 years, but inactive for 2 years. Does that decrease the age? No, you just want to reactivate it, and now it's 4 years old.
4 years old. Just make sure it's in good standing.
Mm-hmm.
That LLC will be 4 years old. Ms. Tangela put, how much does the
age corporation usually cost?
So depends on how old the corporation is. The older the corporation, the more it's gonna cost. All right. Now keep in mind these corporations don't have any activity on them. They are shelf corporations, like I like to call them. They file taxes, but they don't have no activity. So for a 1 year age corp, you're looking at about $3,500. For a 2 year age corp, you're looking at about $6,000, just starting price.
Mm-hmm. You want a longer 5 years?
You want more? It's just the price just goes up.
It goes up. Yeah, I've known people that they'll buy a 20-year age corp because they're trying to get significant lines of credit for their business. So it really depends on what your goals are, where you are, and what you need determines exactly which age corp you need. Ms. Jones said, I can't wait to get my business line of credit. Yes, ma'am. So yeah, 10 years is probably going to cost you anywhere between 8 to 15,000.
Easy.
Yeah.
And keep in mind now, if you are doing funding the way we talk about doing funding, 2 years is the mark. There really isn't a big difference between 2 years and 5 years, 10 years. 2 years is where a lot of banks, that's their minimum age for their products.
Mm-hmm.
So understand when you going to get like lines of credit and things like that, a lot of those things don't open up to you until you have 2 years of age.
Or certain SBA loans, like they want to see that you've had some movement and some age on it. So that's why people buy the 10 years, the 20 years, because maybe they have a franchise that they are trying to they need more liquid and capital for. Maybe they have stores that they've had around for a minute and they need more history. They need more time to apply for the type of funding that they need.
Yeah. Great questions, though. Great questions.
All right. So you get the age corp. You need to open up some accounts because banks want to know that you're in a relationship together. All right. Nobody wants to lend money to somebody that don't want to be around them. All right. Tonio's not gonna pay me and give me money if I don't show him I love him, like him, a little bit of interested in him. All right. Otherwise, he's gonna be like, why am I giving this chick money and she's not even interested in me? So I gotta show him I'm interested. I gotta spend time with him to show him I'm interested. Banks want you to spend some time with them, spend a little money with them to show that you are interested.
Just to be clear, opening an account shows that, okay? You got to rub them on the back, all right?
They have to rub them on the back.
Opening an account or the people that you currently bank with, they are good options to give you some business funding also if you got those things in line.
So someone put, does it have to be an Alabama court? No. No,
No.
we get corporations from all over the place.
So I'm gonna tell you the trick to it though. If you get an age corporation from New York,
Mhm.
but you want to apply for funding in Alabama, you would have to get what we call a foreign entity.
Mhm.
All right. When you get a foreign entity, that's going to give you the ability to apply for Alabama-based banks.
Banks, yeah.
All right.
But guess what? You know how many times you can run this play? So you can run this play and say, all right, I got a foreign entity in Alabama, but I'm going to also get a foreign entity in Texas. So now you can run this play in Texas, in Alabama, in Georgia. But the key is you want to make sure you don't have too many inquiries from running the play, and you want to make sure that you don't have so many new accounts, because then they're like, now here you go looking and wanting credit, and I need you to not look so thirsty. All right.
And keep in mind that the reason it's important is all banks aren't in all states. So
Yes.
I know in one of our best
TD.
banks.
Well, no, that's not our
Okay,
best
you
banks.
can say
Okay,
something.
one of your best banks.
One of our best banks is Truist. So like Truist isn't in every state. So let's say that you're in New York, but there isn't a Truist in New York. There's a Truist in Alabama. That's why you'll want to get a foreign entity in Alabama, apply for the Truist in Alabama. And it's all processes and things that go on
It's
behind the
strategic,
scenes.
absolutely.
Can you do this stuff by yourself?
Absolutely.
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 But can you go farther with somebody doing it for you?
Yeah.
Because they have the relationship. They already know what banks to hit. They already have a relationship with bankers.
And they already know how to build your sequence when it comes to which banks to hit at what time. All right. Because some banks, if they see you just got a new inquiry, they'll shut down all of your accounts with them, with personal business, because again, you're looking thirsty, and I don't want the risk of giving someone money that's thirsty, and all they're gonna do is run it up and never pay me back.
And we talk about real estate, but this is not like a real estate only thing. Whatever kind of business, not whatever, but as long as you're not in the high risk industry,
yes,
you're good with this type of stuff. As long as you're not doing trucking, you're not doing cannabis, you're not telling them, hey, I'm doing real estate, you're good.
Consulting, baking,
Cooking,
marketing, yeah, all of that. Those are really good businesses. Business, consulting, all of those are really good businesses that are prime ways that you can get business funding.
Yep.
All right. So we talked about it. Get you an age corporation, open up some bank accounts, and then start applying for the lines of credit and the credit cards. And then investing in your business. It's simple, it's easy. Just do it.
Yep.
All right.
We talked about this.
We did. And that one.
Yep.
All right. This is a client of ours that went and got a 2-year age corporation, a 2-year age LLC, and they're in the process right now, but they've gotten $50,000 in funding right now just from going through funding. I think they have about 3 or 4 banks that they're waiting for approvals for as far as the amount that they approve for, but they're literally in the funding process right now.
Yep.
All right. Another client of ours got $160,000 in funding in less than 30 days.
At least less than 45.
Yeah.
And the thing that he's doing, his business funding, he just bought another investment property.
He did.
He used these business funds for the down payment, and he's looking to actually lend on some more people deals.
Yep. All right. This client, she was so funny. She had quit. Like, you know what? I'm done. I'm getting denials. Her first couple ones were denials. She was like, I'm done. I'm ready to pull out. And literally, when she was saying she was ready to pull out, she got an approval that came in her email box and said, you got approved for $15,000. She ended up her whole funding process with $132,000 in business funding. And she bought an age corporation.
And she bought a 2-year age corporation. And she's got 2 projects going on right now.
And she's lending on another property
She's
in
doing 2
Huntsville.
deals?
She's on 3 deals right now.
She's lending on 2.
No, she's lending on 1.
She didn't lend on a Norwood.
She did lend
So
on.
she's
She's
lending on 2 deals,
and
she's
she has
doing
2 active flips going on right now. I forgot about that. And then this client got approved for $127,000, literally getting an age corporation, getting business funding, and following the steps. So you don't have to have a business when it comes to getting business funding. All right. You can buy you an age corporation. You can literally make sure you're building up your data points and go for business funding in 30 to 45 days. It really, you can do it quicker. It really depends on how soon you move, how quick you move, and how focused you are. All right. This is not the only way that you can get business funding. All right. This is by far the fastest way that you can get business funding, but you can build business funding. You can get tier 1 accounts, tier 2 accounts, tier 3 accounts, where you slowly start building
net 30, net 60.
Net 60 accounts. But the tier 1, tier 2 are when you're paying it back, and the level of accounts that you get business funding on. So you can get those. It just takes longer before you can start getting that line of credit or those higher credit cards, because you're building it without using your personal. All right.
So let's go. We got 5 minutes left. Let's ask any questions, any personal situations that you want to talk about, just like Miss Amy.
That was Miss Amy.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind looking at your report, Miss Amy, to see how we can help you. We do that for free. That's our foundation, helping people go from renting to owning. So we just understand that credit world. So we wouldn't mind helping you with that. If anybody else got any situation they want to talk about, let us know.
Absolutely. Tonya hit the desk while he was talking and made my whole water bottle fall.
Blame me for everything.
Yeah, I just wanted to know why I was screaming, why I jumped.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and type it in the chat. Also, if you want our lenders list, our secret lenders list, and make sure you type list in the chat so we can send it out to you. And that is the lenders we use, where they pull from, so that you can start getting funding.
And I'm gonna say this again. We can give you this information. You can go and try to apply this information, but that doesn't mean it's always going to work out like you want to work out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, like people who do business funding, they get paid good money to do business funding because they have relationships, they understand the process, and they know what it takes. Where they can take your same credit profile and get 120,000 funding, where you might end up with 30,000 funding and your account shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a big difference in just doing it yourself. If you are a self-starter and you want to try, hey, put lists, we'll send it over to you and do what you do.
Absolutely.
But
it may be your niche, it may be something that you do, it may be it just may be something you like. Some people get a thrill with doing it on their own. Some people, it's like, you know what, time is money. I'd rather not figure it out. I'd rather pay somebody that already know how to do it. Whoever you are, whichever one you are,
we can help. So if you that person that say, hey, I want y'all to do it, I'll pay the fee from the business funding, just send us a message and we can talk about it.
Yeah,
right? There is no fee to necessarily get started with business funding if you're doing business funding only.
Yeah. Right? So Amy said, would there be any reason to look for a nonprofit corp / LLC? I think it depends on what your business is. Like, what are you doing? If you're not doing nonprofit services, I don't see a reason why you would search for it. But if you are doing nonprofit services, then you want to make sure you are aligned up with what you're getting.
And I know like certain SBA loans and things like that do nonprofit, but for what we're doing,
you don't have to have a nonprofit. Yeah. You just want to make sure that you get an aged LLC and that it's not a high risk industry that you are working in.
Yep.
Am I missing anything?
We are adding a dynamic funding tour date to Birmingham. We had a lot of people reach out.
And say, we need it on the Saturday. We need it on the Saturday. Can we do it on the Saturday?
So we are adding a Saturday in the month of June. So be on the lookout for that information coming.
Absolutely. Anything else?
Nope.
No. All right. I think that is good. I had something, but I forgot what it was. So until next time, we'll see you next week, you guys. Same place, same time.
Peace.